So Headless CMS and visual editing has always had a kind of love-hate relationship, right? Like Headless CMSs have always been about the structure and the schema, whereas website builders have all been about like the sort of visual flexibility on having that what you see is what you get experience. Now, in the past, we've seen a lot of headless CMSs try to implement different approaches to visual editing, each one different, each one working for different workflows. We've seen implementations with iframes. We've seen implementations with the sort of click to open a new tab to make an edit. We've seen a whole category of SaaS come and be developed to offer this sort of front-end editing experience on a headless CMS. And for some reason, a lot of those didn't fit into our workflows and also not for our customers. So we've been collecting a lot of data and opinions and feedback from our users to try and implement our own change and our own implementation of visual editing in DatoCMS. And we've done this by kind of taking two approaches. So each approach unlocks two very different workflows depending on what works for you and your team. The first one is what we're calling click to edit. This is something you might have seen implemented by a few other deployment platforms or CMSs in the past, where you have an interactive layer on top of your staging URL or draft URL that kind of tells you that these are elements or components that are coming from your CMS project. You would click on it, it would open a new tab, and you could make edits. So in the case of our e-commerce demo, that's exactly what we've implemented out of the box. So if I enter draft mode by entering our super secret token, which is called super secret token, and authenticating ourselves, this will instantly give us this sort of hover approach where we can see exactly what's coming in from the CMS, right? So all these images, all the text, the content for the cookie banner, all of this comes in from DatoCMS. And to make edits, I would just have to go ahead, click on this, open a new tab, and it will take me to the corresponding record. This is great. It works for some use cases. It's something that's been commonly done in the past, but this doesn't work for everyone. So we've also taken a secondary approach, which is a little more, I would say, bundled into the CMS and feels a lot more native. So if you've been using the web previews plugin in the past, it's one of our most popular plugins. It basically gives you a side-by-side view of your draft or your production website and all of the fields within that record. So since this is such a commonly used plugin anyways, we thought we would build up on it and unlock side-by-side editing inside DatoCMS. So if I were to go to an existing project, this is where under configuration, you would have your web previews plugin kind of set up by your devs. And while this does still give you all of the preview capabilities, this also introduces a brand new tab, which we're calling visual. So once I go into this aspect and once I'm authenticated, this reflects kind of everything we've seen here with the whole hover over elements on your front end, but the difference here being you have a very clean side-by-side view of all the records that are being referenced on this page. So in the case of our homepage, let's get rid of that, our headline, our description, the images, all of this is mapped very cleanly to the very specific fields. So if I wasn't too happy with the headline and I wanted to change it for whatever reason, I click on this. On the side, it's going to open that record and it's going to jump to the corresponding field. So here, I think ideal is a redundant word. I'll just go ahead and change it to find your style. Now, the moment I do that, what's going to happen is it's going to make those changes to the front end and have it reflected as soon as I hit save. If you are using the real-time API in your project for whatever reason, the sync is a lot faster. It's basically in real time, but that's not something we've implemented in this project. So yeah, as soon as I'm happy with all the changes I make, I can follow the workflows I'm already used to. So in this case, I would just go ahead, publish it, and on the production URL, those changes would be reflected. Now, if this is still not a sort of workflow or a view that works for you, you could still very much continue using the previous version of how content editing worked with the side-by-side previews, which was if you were in a showcase. So here you've already been used to the previous view where you have the sort of sidebar that gives you all the record info. And here you would simply switch to the website preview, which would, depending on your configuration, of course, it would give you the published version, or if there was a draft version that we've not saved, it would also give you the custom viewports to kind of see how this looks like on desktop or how this looks like on tablet. And very similar to the previous flows that have existed with this plugin, you would simply scroll through the content form, see what you need to change, and you would have those reflected in the preview at real time. So yeah, that's a very quick look into kind of how visual editing works within DatoCMS, where you have the preview view using the web preview plugin. You have a complete brand new visual tab that lets you sort of map fields to specific records on previews. And then you have the content link, which gives you that front-end experience. If you want to just look at the visual aspect, click, open a new tab, and make changes in the CMS.